Hey guys, it's Will here again, and I'm back with another Batrep from the Iron Hammer League. So we're down here at 40k Gaming, and my opponent for tonight is also called Will, and he's brought his Deathguard. As ever, it's 2,000 points, Eternal War missions from the new chapter approved, and I'll be running my Biltan. Changed up the list slightly, but similar sort of thing to you've seen before. So yeah, let's dive right in and have a look at the army. So I've got 3 detachments here. I've got a battalion, a spearhead and an outrider. So leading my force, I've got my Farseer with Spirit Stone of Anathlan and Fortune Doom as his powers, and Natural Leader as his Warlord trait. And I've got a Warlock with Jinx Protect. And then my troops, 3 units of Dire Avengers, 2 of 5, 1 of 6, all with the Exarchs with the double Shuriken catapults. I've got a couple of Wave Serpents for some of these guys to go in. Both of these are the nice simple triple Shuriken cannon ones, probably the most efficient loadout for a Serpent still, even after the points drops. And then a unit of 5 Fire Dragons. Then, and the Wraith Lord will be in that battalion as well. He's the latest addition to the army, my Striking Scorpion themed Wraith Lord. So he's packing 2 Flamers in the Mandiblaster position there, and then 2 Shuriken Cannons. But then my Spearhead, so I've got a Spirit Seer leading that. Haven't actually worked out what powers him and the other Warlock have got yet, but obviously he'll have 1 power. And I've got my 2 units of Dark Reapers. One of them has the Exarch with the Reaper launcher, and the other Exarch has a Tempest launcher. And then backing them up, I've got a Falcon with Pulse Laser and Bright Lance. And got Crystal Targeting Matrix in there as well. And then finally, my Outrider, led by a Warlock. So it's 2 Warlocks, a Spirit Seer and a Farseer here, so plenty of psychic support. Unit of 6 Swooping Hawks with the Exarch with the Hawk's Talon. 8 Shining Spears, Exarch with Star Lance, and then 5 Wind Riders with Shuriken Cannons. So that is my 2,000 points of Biltan Eldar. Okay, here's Will's Deathguard army. So as you can see, it's still a little bit work in progress. Got a couple of units to finish off, but what he has finished is looking really nice. So he's got 3 detachments again, starting off with 2 battalions. So the first one is 1 unit of Nurglings and 2 30-man units of Plague Bearers. So lots and lots of Plague Bearers to chew through here. And leading that, he's got a couple of characters here, the Sloppity Bile Piper and the Spoilpox Scrivener. Trying to get these names right because I've never actually played against a proper Deathguard army before. Killed Mortarion a couple of times, but never actually seen the Deathguard played as an army. 2nd Battalion has got these 2 who are, hang on, let me just, Poxbringers leading that, and then 3 units of Nurglings, so it's a minimum kind of give you lots of command points sort of battalion. He's also got this Plague, let me check what this is called again. Fetid Bloat Drone, so that's the thing from the starter box. I don't know if it's the starter box model, but that's the thing. And then he's got this guy here who is called the Foul Blightspawn. It's going to be interesting facing all this, trying to remember what it all is. Then he's got a Spearhead detachment, so leading that he's got his 2 Demon Princes, both with wings and a spell each, and this guy here has the Arch Contaminator Warlord trait, so pretty important from what I understand for Nurgle armies to have that. And then he's got 3 of the Plague Burst Crawlers, 1 with the spray weapon and 2 with the more long range weapons on there. And yeah, that is 2,000 points of Deathguard. The mission tonight is going to be Vital Intelligence, so there are 5 objective markers, 1 in the centre and then 1 sort of spread out around the 4 quarters of the board, and they are worth normally 1 point at the end of every turn, every battle round, but at the start of every turn you roll a d6 and that numbered objective marker gets an addition, is worth 2 points rather than 1. If you roll a 6, they're all worth 2. We've got Dawn of War deployment, and I deployed first, but I've kept a lot of my guys quite well concealed. So all these guys are in their transports as normal. Wraithlord's a little bit further forward, he's a bit tougher, you know, see what he can do. Probably die first turn because that's new model syndrome. More guys in transports over here with the swooping hawks behind here. Shining spears out of line of sight, jet bikes out of line of sight. He's got his plague bearers and all his characters in a big gaggle in the middle, so they're all benefiting from each other's buff auras, with his plague crawlers down to one side. Interestingly, the opposite side from my shining spears. Not quite sure if that was the decision, but it's a good one if it is. And then his plague bearers infiltrating further forward to grab objectives. Although I have the choice, I could go first unless he sees the initiative, but I actually want to go second here. I have a plan for that, and objective scoring is at the end of the battle round, so going second has some potential advantages. But anyway, let's get going with Deathguard, turn 1. Of course, the risk with giving up the first turn is that you get alpha striked. And with 3 plague burst crawlers, he certainly had some useful tools there, but quite lucky actually, didn't take a lot of damage this turn. So he pushed up his plague bearers to the middle of the board and cast a couple of buff spells on them, so these guys are now -2 to hit instead of -1. These guys do extra damage in combat. Nurglings also came forward, and the active objective this turn is objective 1 right in the middle, so he'll almost certainly be getting 2 points for that. But you know, the shooting phase was not as bad as it could have been. The 3 crawlers were a little bit short on targets, only did a single wound to this wave serpent, and did put 9 on the falcon, but as I said, not enough to kill either of them, so it's okay. We're not in a bad state here. That was about it, quite a quick turn, so let's see how the Eldar are going to counterpunch. Eldar turn 1, and the big thing I wanted to do was try and thin out some of his numbers, because he clearly has the infantry numbers advantage, which can make a big difference in an objective scoring mission, especially when the centre objective is worth double this turn. So disembarked a lot of my transported units, pushed my tanks just a little bit forward, and moved the shining spears up to just in front of that building. So both Dark Reaper units are out. The Fire Dragons got out of their somewhat damaged transport and run to hide behind this one. They'll probably get in there next turn because they've still got a way to go to get to his tanks. And the Swooping Hawks popped up onto here for a better line of sight for their weapons and to, you know, give themselves options for next turn. And I moved the jet bikes over here to counter the Nurglings. Psychic phase went pretty well actually. I got Doom and Jinx off on the grey Nurgling unit, Plaguebearer unit, concealed this Wave Serpent and put Fortune on the Shining Spears, all of which is going to be important for actually living this turn. Shooting's where it started to go wrong. So I opened up with the Shining Spears, who were just within 12 inches of the Plaguebearer unit, and did 14 wounds, which is pretty good. And that caused about 4 or 5 casualties. The Plague Bearers, just such a tough unit, not actually played against them in this edition, and I immediately started to feel the frustration. So I decided, you know, go for an easier target, try and kill off these Nurglings with the jet bikes and the Aspect Warriors down here, but only killed one of them and wounded another couple. So yeah, this was going to be an uphill struggle. So then focused some of my shooting on trying to clear out at least one of the Nurgling units from the middle to get me first strike, which I did do, but it took the firepower of this Dire Avenger unit, this Wave Serpent, the Serpent Shield from this Wave Serpent, and half the Swooping Hawks. It was, oh, and the Wraith Lord as well. Took way too much firepower, but it did kill one unit, so that's my first strike done. Doesn't grab me the objective by any means though, because there's still a huge horde of Nurgle on there. This Dire Avenger unit went to have a crack at the far Plague Crawler. Only did 3 wounds to it, all said and done. High toughness really makes a difference on that thing. But then all 3 of those wounds were saved by Disgustingly Resilient, which was just a bit disgusting really. So decided the second unit and the majority of the rest of my shooting should just focus on thinning out the rest of those Plague Bearers, which I did pretty well on, killed 12, and he gambled. He could have spent 2 CP just to auto-pass it and save the rest of the unit, but he rolled 2d6 because of his Bile Piper, with the hope to roll a 1, but even with the CP reroll, his total score was 4. So that was with leadership 7, 9 more of them left. So that unit is severely depleted now. But there's still a lot there. It's still all to play for, and he's taking the lead on points with 4 points to my 2 for objectives plus first strike, so 4-3. Did charge the jet bikes here with the hope of trying to do something to these Nurglings. The strength 2, it wasn't really going to hurt, didn't do anything, but didn't do a lot back to me, so it's all fine, nothing to worry about too much down there. It also does mean those jet bikes aren't going to get shot by this thing, which I almost forgot was even there because he's sneakily creeping down the flank here. But yeah, solid start. Let's see what happens in Deathguard turn 2. Deathguard turn 2 went very much like Deathguard turn 1. So the big unit of Plague Bearers pushed forward, the tank, or the lead tank, Plague Bearers Crawler pushed up a little bit, and this Demon Prince came forward while that one stayed back to buff the tanks. And I forgot what this thing's called, the floaty thing, floated bloke drone, came down the flank ready to flame some stuff. Psychic phase was amazing. He did get off -1 to hit on these guys, but other than that, things were and he got off smite onto the jet bikes and killed one of them. But other than that, it was either failed or shut down. But then shooting phase, he managed to barbecue 4 out of the 6 Dire Avengers with the floated boat drone. But the crawlers, the Plague Bearers crawlers had the day from hell. All of those mortars fired at the Dark Reapers and killed a total of 3 of them, and that's without me using any stratagems, with him using a reroll on one of his number of attacks. It was just terrible dice, which continued with their secondary weapons as he killed a single Dire Avenger with the front gun from the lead one, and failed to do any damage to this Wave Serpent or the Wraith Lord with the entropy cannons. It was quite a sight to behold. Just the dice again affecting the outcome. It seems to be the way it goes in my Batreps at the moment. Assault phase, as you can see, the big purple unit of Plague Bearers charged into both my Wave Serpents, but thanks to Wave Serpents being hard, solid tanks and him not getting his damage buff up, only took a total of 2 wounds on this one and 2 wounds on this one. No damage in return there, but the bloke drone did charge into the jet bikes, killed another 2 of them, and then another one ran away. So jet bikes having a bad day, but the rest of my force is holding up pretty well at the moment. So yeah, time for Eldar turn 2. Incidentally, the double score objective this turn is this one down here, objective 4. So that's worked out quite nicely for me this time around. So I wanted to start grabbing some objectives this turn, so I sent my Shining Spears over towards that one, and disembarked another unit of Dire Avengers out of that Wave Serpent to screen these guys, screen these Dark Reapers, and also get in some more shooting. 5 runners embarked there and that moved off, and obviously both of these pulled back, trying making him split himself. I pulled the jet bike out of there. Wraith Lord went forward looking to be a bit of a threat, make a nuisance of himself. Psychic phase went not great. I did get off Protect on this Reaper unit and Fortune on Shining Spears, but I failed to get off either Doom or Jinx, which did hamper my shooting a lot. But I was still able to do a little bit, so I killed one of the Plague Bearer bases over there, the Nurgling bases with the Shining Spears, and took out a couple of, 3 Plague Bearers from that grey squad with the Wraith Lord. But most of my shooting sort of bounced and whiffed. I killed a few from this squad, but the minus to hit was a big thing there. I did do 5 wounds to this bloke drone with the Dark Reapers. He would have done 6, but he obviously had his feel no pain there. And yeah, that was about it. Oh, and I killed a couple of Plague Bearers in the middle there, but disappointing shooting phase. Assault phase was a little bit better. Shining Spears into the Nurglings over there, killed another one of them. Still had one left, but then he failed his morale despite a reroll, so they've run off. So at least I'm grabbing that objective. And over here, the Wraith Lord got into combat with the Psyker guy, the Springer, I think he's called. The guy who's like squirting flames out of his fist, green flames, but failed to do any damage to him thanks to a combination of poor wound rolls and great armour saves, invuln saves. And then him and his mate piled in on me and actually did a couple of damage despite the fact that they're only hitting me with little sticks. Apparently they have -3 to the save, so that's pretty good. So not a great turn for damage, but scoring's pretty good. This one's worth 2, and that one's worth 1, so that gives me 3 points. Down here we're contested, and he's holding the one in the middle and the back there. So that is 3-2 for points, giving us 6-6 as we head into the third turn. The sheer volume of Plague Bearers is really starting to make a difference here, so the practically undamaged purple squad has really been able to push through my lines. Over here the bloat drone had a bit of an attempt to barbecue these guys, killed 4 of this Avenger squad, but then didn't do much in combat to this squad, so it's not, you know, I can still kind of fight my way through that objective and score it again. Incidentally, in regards to objectives, they're all worth 2 points this turn, so it's a really important turn to grab as many of them as possible. These guys sort of moved out from combat with the Wraith Lord and just jigged around to hold that centre objective and protect the squads with the various buffs. And yeah, the Plague Crawlers stayed back where they were. They had another abysmal turn of shooting. The dice were just absolutely terrible. They killed one Shining Spear, and I think they might have done like 1 wound to this Wave Serpent. With the firepower from 3 of them, it was quite something. He put a few wounds on the Wraith Lord with the one of the characters in there has got like a flamer weapon as well. But it was the assault phase where the damage was really done. The Demon Prince put 3 wounds onto the Wave Serpent, but that's, you know, that is what it is. It's not going to do a lot. But down here, these Plague Bearers wiped out my Dire Avengers and got into combat with the Reapers. Now luckily the Reapers can just back out next turn for 2 CP and still be able to shoot, but it's a bit of a nuisance and they're not screened anymore, so yeah, it's going to be a bit tight for room, but I think we can do it. No scoring obviously because that happens at the end of my turn, but he is camping most of the objectives at this point, except that one which I really want to move off because I don't want nearly 300 points of Shining Spears just objective camping, but we shall see. Here we go with Eldar, turn 3. Okay, so I tried to kind of manoeuvre to positions to kill stuff while still trying to grab objectives. So 2 CP to pull my Reapers out of combat was probably not worth it in the end because they virtually did nothing. They killed like 2 or 3 Plague Bearers. The Falcon continued to not do anything because it's so badly damaged, it's not really hitting anything. Decided to leave just one of my Shining Spears trailing back onto the objective, the rest coming forward and daisy chaining so I could shoot the Plague Bearers in the middle, and did manage to wipe them out. The Wraith Lord pushed up to get to the Plague Crawler and did 4 damage to it in combat, but that did have to burn another CP to make the charge. Fire Dragons got out their Wave Serpent hoping to light up the Demon Prince, but some poor wound rolls and he's disgustingly resilient means that even after the Wave Serpent, or that Wave Serpent, added its fire, he was still alive. This Wave Serpent was hoping to shoot him as well, but obviously he's a character so I can't target him, so I killed 1 Plague Bearer instead. But in other positive news, I did take the last of the Nurgling bases off here, so I am scoring that this turn, although I'm in no illusion that those Dire Avengers are dead next turn. But yeah, so I did manage to lock down one of the Plague Crawlers, although with the luck he's having, I don't know if that'll actually make a difference, because it's not really going to do any damage. In fact, it did a lot more with its flamers to the charging Wave Serpent than it ever did from its shooting. So yeah, tough times, and with all the objectives being worth 2, he had this one, and this one for a nice 6-point turn. I did score 2 objectives, so 4 points, which brings us to 6-4 for the turn and 12-10 for the game so far. And I've got Fortune on them and Conceal Reveal on this Wave Serpent, but I just feel like this turn I'm in a pretty bad spot. But let's see how it goes in Deathguard turn 4. So not as bad a turn as I'd expected. The Crawlers again continued to do not a lot. One of them backed out of combat. which freed the Demon Prince up to charge the Wraith Lord. So my Wraith Lord has gone, and down here the other Demon Prince, together with the bloat drone, killed the Dire Avengers that were down here. So he is currently holding that objective, but his shooting failed to wipe out the Fire Dragons. The Exarch's still alive, and over here, although the Plague Bearers made it into combat with the Dark Reapers, they're only actually meant to kill one of them and do a couple of wounds to the Spirit Seer. So yeah, not too bad in the end. So yeah, I'm losing a lot of my infantry, but he's not killed a great deal, but he is camping these objectives well. But I've got a few plans to try and grab a couple of them this turn as we go into Eldar turn 4. I tried to pull it back this turn by grabbing as many objectives as I can. So started by pulling the Reapers out of combat to blast these guys, because I knew I wasn't going to get that one. Used my last 2 CP to do that, and it kind of worked. I did kill 4 of them in the end. Over here, for this battle, for this objective, things actually went pretty well. Pulled my my Dark Reapers and my Fire Dragons in, and they both had a great time of it. Almost killed the Demon Prince, but not quite. Then the Reapers fired at the drone, blew the drone up, and the ensuing explosion killed the Demon Prince. So yeah, that one's mine. Wave Serpent over here came round to just contest that. Wasn't going to do any damage, no illusion to claiming it, just wanted to contest. And over here the Swooping Hawks grabbed that one. In the centre, the plan was that the Shining Spears would come in and smash up these harmless support characters, who turned out not to be so harmless, and I lost loads of models there. Really kind of blunted the attack there. So I've gone from thinking, yeah, I'll definitely get that one, to yeah, that's going to be his. So he scored 2 objectives this turn. I've scored 2. They're all worth 2 points again. Yes, so that's another 4 points each. So yeah, he's still 2 points ahead as we go into the 5th turn. Okay, so Deathguard turn 5, and it really is all over. The Plague Crawlers finally kicked in and started doing what they need to do. So he's camped this objective here with the Plague Bearers. This Crawler came round and wiped the Swooping Hawks off there, and the other 2 Crawlers managed to take out that Wave Serpent and bombard the Reapers to death. That objective over that side is worth 2 this turn. Yeah, he's got 2 points for that, plus 1 for this centre one. That combat was pretty much stalemate. And I got 1 for this one, he got another 1 for that. And so once we totaled it all up with his line breaker point as well, ended 21 to 14. So both numbers, multiples of 7, Nurgle's number, 7 apart, Nurgle's number, and a victory for the forces of Nurgle. I didn't play out my final turn because I knew it was going to be all over at that point, and I got to fly because this has taken a while. It's been a good fun game, and I'll catch you all in the post game. Okay, so we decided to call it there because we were running out of time. We both had to get places, but after a good fun 5-turn game, it was quite clear who the winner was going to be. So yeah, solid win for the Deathguard there. So well done, Will. Nice one, and good luck in the rest of the tournament. So start with, I want to apologise for a couple of the sound issues there. Basically, I'm having some trouble with the connector on my mic, and I think I know how to solve it now, having looked into it. But in terms of the actual quality of the recording, that was as good as I could get it back to with the software I had. I had to sort of put it through a little bit of sound editing. You know, it's very basic software I use, but I was able to recover it a bit. So yeah, apologies, but I think I know what to do to get it right next time, because I know there's been a couple of videos lately where the sound has kind of gone a bit here and there. So yeah, anyway, as for the result, unlike my last couple of losses in this league, I can't really put this one down to one obvious mistake or piece of bad luck, like a, oh yeah, I should have done that differently type of moment. You know, if anything, the luck was very much in my favour, you know, with those Plague Burst Crawlers having 3 shooting phases where they did virtually nothing. It was yeah, quite you know, quite unfortunate for Will actually how his shooting was going, but he was still able to pull it back, and in the end it just came down to board control. You know, those Plague Bearers are really tough. They don't mind being in combat. They're not the best, hardest hitting combat unit in the game by any means, but you know, they have no problem getting into a fight because they're just so damn tough. And he had the right support characters there, and he was just able to clog up the middle of the board and make sure he was in position to contest all the objectives. So no matter how much firepower I poured onto them, just wasn't enough to stop them. And yeah, I think that is kind of how the meta seems to be shifting, or not so much the meta, but the game itself. You know, board control is becoming a bigger thing now with the new chapter approved 2018 missions, and I think for those of you who play ITC, it's kind of been more that way in ITC anyway, with the progressive missions. But I remember the first sort of year of 8th edition was basically just line up, blast your opponent off the board, grab objectives if you've got any models left after turn 4, because quite often by the end of turn 4 there was a massacre one way or another. Now it seems that, you know, the objectives matter more, because you can't win by massacre in a lot of the missions in chapter approved. You have to score your objectives, because even if you massacre, if you get outscored, you've lost. So yeah, it certainly makes the game more tactical, but is going to mean I'm going to have to adjust my play style a bit, which is going to mean potentially more troops, trying to get some more resilient units in there. And yeah, may not be something I do with the Eldar for a while, because after this tournament, or after this league, you know, I've been playing them a lot. Want to try some of my other armies, show some love to my Orcs or my Space Marines, but certainly lessons that can be learnt to be brought into those. One lesson I think I have learnt with this was, when deploying first, try and keep like my Shining Spears a bit more central. By putting them out on one side, it meant that he could then deploy his Plague Crawlers on the other side, and my Spears just didn't have a chance to get across there. So we were left fighting Nurglings or characters, and the characters turned out to be a damn sight tougher than I thought they were. And while I did kill the Nurglings, it's a bit of a waste of Shining Spears to do it. So yeah, but certainly a lot to be learnt from my first proper experience against Deathguard. A lot tougher than I knew they were tough, but I thought, you know, we're Eldar, got some of the best firepower in the game, we can get through that. But you really can't, you know, you've got to really mass your firepower and get the right buffs and debuffs off to make it work. And even then, those Plague Bearers, 30-man units of Plague Bearers just do not go down. So yeah, that puts me on 3 losses to 1 win for the tournament, so for the league, sorry. So certainly looking unlikely to pick up any sort of high scoring result in this, but it's been fun, and you know, got a couple of games to play out, and looking forward to playing those. So yeah, hopefully I shall see you guys again soon. Bye.